being a British citizen, being from the UK, seeing the developments take place across the sea, especially right now with what we see in our country, in the United States, in North America, there's the rise of Christian nationalism. And there's been a lot of discussion about it, what it is, what it does. As someone that's looking at it from a different cultural viewpoint, what do you see as this phenomenon? I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
What strikes me when I go to America is how, despite the theoretical separation of church and state, it is remarkable how united religion and politics are. It is quite extraordinary. For example, when I was at Baylor University about 10 years ago, I was invited to a rally of those committed to the cause of promoting life for unborn babies, if you will, an anti-abortion rally. And that anti-abortion rally was concerned with Christian things, and that was not surprising. There were preachers there in abundance, there were hymns sung, but also it was concerned with politics. There was a very definite message that at the next election we must vote a certain way. Now, that degree of fusion of religion and politics is something that I am much less familiar with in the UK in the recent past. It was a common phenomenon at the start of the 20th century, and indeed people that I studied in my PhD were criticised for merging religion and politics. But I had supposed then that in America, because church and state were separate, religion and politics are separate. But no, they're not. And in some ways that's symbolised by the very common presence in evangelical churches of the American flag. Very commonly at the front, occasionally, as in one congregation that I've attended in the United States, in 3 places. Yes, at the front, also on the communion table, and also hanging down as a pendant from the ceiling above the communion table. So wherever you look frontwards, there's an American flag. Now, that does seem to me to be putting politics, and especially commitment to nation, as something which is more prominent than I would wish it to be as a citizen of a kingdom to come. I do believe in Christian citizenship in the present, but I do not believe that I want to have the Union flag in my church. Thank you very much. Well, you do see it in some older Anglican churches, but that's precisely because of the union of church and state in England. So that's the paradox of the separation of church and state coexisting with the integration of religion and politics troubles me. And it troubles me mostly when the Christian faith, especially the Christian faith in the form that I would espouse, the form of evangelical religion, when that is used as a sanction for political positions that I do not necessarily concur in, and support for political individuals that I have not wished to support. And that is common. And so, as an observer from the outside, that is my overwhelming impression. When that's been said, I have listened to many, many sermons in the States now and taken notes on them. And I very rarely in sermons hear particular political positions commended. Very rarely. I've heard it once or twice. In fact, I heard one instance where it was an assumption rather than a commendation only 2 months ago, in December 2022, at a very conservative Baptist church, where it was assumed that we would have one political allegiance. But that was an assumption, and no doubt the assumption was valid, and it wasn't actually preached. And very, very rarely have I heard a particular political position preached. Now, I'm not saying that our churches in our country are innocent in this area, far from it. And I shall be supporting the coronation of King Charles III very fervently in May. I do believe in our political system. I rather like monarchs, actually. I'm very sorry about that, but there we are. And so I don't want to say that our system's right, your system's wrong, far from it. But I'm troubled by certain contemporary developments of the Christian nationalism you speak about.